Hi, my name is Julie, and today we're going to learn about static variables and static events in YSJ.NET. Static variables in YSJ are simply C# static variables. The catch is that you can think of them as being global. Each static variable has one singular value accessible across all client sessions. That value doesn't reset if a single session ends. It only resets when all instances of the application running on the client are closed and the IIS app pool restarts or the server is rebooted. Static events fire in all sessions, so it's possible to, for example, update the UI of multiple sessions when a static event fires, and that's what we're going to do in this example. So I'm just going to create a button. I'm going to double click on the button to get the button click event, and we're going to go ahead and add the page load event because we'll need that as well. And let's go ahead and create a static variable. I'm just going to create an integer called times clicked. So this would just keep track of how many times the button has been clicked. And on page load, I'm just going to set the button text. So it says times clicked and then times clicked.toString. So if I run this, there you go, it's displaying it. And of course, when I click on the button, I need to increment times clicked. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's put that there. There we go. So now when I click on the button, it increments. But you notice if I create a new session, and to create a new session, you can just create a new tab. So that copied, so it's got times click 5, and if I create a new session, times click 5, right? But if I click over here, this one says 10, and if I go back, this one only says 5, right? So it's not updating the other sessions, it's only whatever that specific session is. So in order to update it everywhere, we need a static event. And so I'm just going to create one called display times clicked. We're going to go ahead and attach a handler to it, which means we need to create that handler. There we go. And let's go ahead and dispose of this handler whenever the page is disposed. So go to page dispose. We'll go ahead and detach. There we go. Okay, so this is the code that's going to run whenever this event fires. And in this code, I want to update the button text, right? And so what I'm going to do is whenever I click on this button, instead of just telling it to update the button text, which will just update the button in that session, instead I am going to invoke my event. You notice I'm sending it null and eventargs.empty for sender and event args because there aren't really any arguments here. I'm just invoking the event. You also notice here I don't have any arguments, right? It's just being invoked. There is something we're missing here, and I'm going to go ahead and add it in. You should need this here to make sure you're updating the UI in the correct session. Whenever this event fires, the context, this, is in the context of the sender, that is whatever session it fired from, so whatever session you click the button in. And in order to update the UI, you need to be in the context of whatever session you're actually in. So let's go ahead and add that in. No, I need to close parenthesis. And you know what? Let's go ahead and display these side by side. Maybe that will be easier to show the difference. You know what? Let me move this button over as well. Okay, so when I click, they both update. If I duplicate, if I duplicate that, and I click, they all update. Okay, so let's get rid of the application.update. Let's comment that out. And see if we get the same behavior. Click over here. There we go. Okay, so without application.update, you can see the problem here. I'm clicking here, and the other ones are not being updated. As soon as I click, you notice it updates, right? So times clicked is 12. If I click one more time, it should be 13, and it updates to 13. So it updates whenever I click, but it only updates whenever I click. It's on that particular session because it's in the context of that session, right? So if I want all sessions to be in the correct context, you need that application to update this. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to static events and static variables in WiseJ. Bye.